What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. My allergies are acting up, and I usually upload later to get more cards for you guys, but there's a huge story of today and a deal you guys might want to take care of. 20% off everything on eBay with code PICKDADSGIFT. Well, let's be real. We're degenerate Yu-Gi-Oh players. We're all about to spend that on ourselves, most likely. But maybe you can pick Dad something up because you need a minimum $50 purchase in your cart in 7 p.m. Pacific time. So I believe that's 9 Central, 10 Eastern, to take advantage of this deal. But many people already are, and that's why the market is going a little bit crazy and upwards right now on eBay. And actually, I'm watching TCG Player follow a little. 20% off is no joke. You actually just, like, I get the quantities are going down over other places, but let's use Engages as an example, right? Like, this would seem down from the other day, but there were cheaper ones available, I believe, earlier in the day, whereas there were on eBay as well. I was seeing 103, 102. Now we have 105, which isn't the biggest increase, but once that one's gone, we have 109. Then it just continues to go up, both of these being 4, and the next cheapest US is 113. But at 20% off, it's pretty big savings overall on something like 104. That's almost down towards, you know, $85, maybe a little less. So you do want to consider higher priced items that you were waiting to get with this deal if you are going to the WCQ for sure, and maybe some collector cards you've been holding off on for a while and other things. So definitely something to keep in mind, especially as Widow Anchor continues to fall, but it's 47 over here. It's 20% off on eBay, and I believe it's actually a little cheaper. Yes, $42 and 20% off versus 47 on TCG Player. eBay is winning with these deals. I don't see deals like this on TCG Player. I see a nice little 5% off, those kinds of things. eBay's winning big, but they are just a titan of a company. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. TCG probably multi-million. So there's that difference in what they can actually offer on deals like this. But it's off your entire cart on this deal. So your entire cart up to, I believe, a maximum of $100 discount. So on $500 of things. But you can only use this once. It's got to be your full cart. So do shop wisely. Shop carefully, make your decisions with a rational head. You have time on the clock, but do remember other people are making their decisions too throughout the day, and that's why prices might seem a little crazy, quantities might seem a little low. A lot of things are getting bought out today for that reason. Next up, a card I held off on for a couple days to see where it would go and really feel my own opinions. People were like, John, you missed Phantom Skyblaster. No, I decided to wait and really see how I felt about this because this got huge hype originally when Link Summoning happened. So I know there's a ton of vendors out there with high quantities from that buyout. So I wanted to see what would happen with the prices, what would happen with the quantities available, and is this a real card? Unfortunately, the answer is yes. It's very real. You can go into Skull Dread. You can do, I believe, 8,600 damage with just 2 cards. It is pretty darn crazy overall. So looking at this card, its prices, the common being the cheapest, from OTS 6, a recent OTS pack, is at $5, and the rest of them, they're pretty high up there if you want a nicer version with very low quantities. We go over, I believe, to the token, actually, which has been bought out too. There's a couple available for $2, actually, and then one for $3. So a few relisted if you want a set of tokens, but a set, you could be summoning more, John. You could, just get whatever you feel comfortable with. Get yourself whatever kind of amount of tokens you want, but do be aware they're getting harder and harder and harder to find quickly. So we look at this, the tokens are right there, and then the cheapest on eBay, Mirror at $5. Wrong picture, you got DT here for your OTS. I was getting excited for a deal for you guys. But overall, the OP commons are still somewhat scarce. I expect a lot of people not to take this as seriously as it is good. We'll get ready for duels combos, I highly suggest, because they kind of show the best uses for this in our current metagame. I believe this came from like Bowden and Joshua Schmidt. Coming out of, I believe actually, the guy that runs Yu-Gi-Oh! Singles told me this was his tech, and then Bowden kind of like, let it go, I see you, Bowden. I see you. Code DGZ Bod Z5 competing with me, and now you're shaking up the meta. Shaking up the meta. I see you, man. But seriously, this card is the goo. It is pretty good, and you're going to want to look up the combos, test it out yourself. Before you rashly go out and buy, maybe test it out on Dueling Book for yourself and see like how others are using it as well, and how you can maximize your ability with it. But it's more than just a cheese card. It's definitely more than just cheese. So it's pretty crazy. Just looking at the other big cards and the disparity on eBay versus TCG Player because of our sale today, right? We got $77. This has been coming down just a little bit over the past few days from its $80 price point. Completely bought off eBay. 20% is a heck of a thing. And we see it at 90, 90, 90. So you might see TCG players try to come back up and hold the line, or people freak out and see the differences and buy it after today. But know that, my audience, know that this is why it's sold out on eBay and why it is happening, rather than just like, hey, this card's going up, I've been considering it, might need to go for it. Nah, take your time. Chill on this card. Another example is Ghost Spell at 50. Well, it's already risen up towards 53, which isn't the biggest ride. 52, 53 at 20% off. It's still a pretty good deal for Ghost Spell. People really underestimated this card at first, and it seems like it's really sticking to that $50 price point. It's tried to hover down a few times. We've seen some 48 listings. They pretty much sell like that at 48, which is crazy, a couple dollars off. And that's kind of why we see this price starting to baby bump on up. New listing, and it's a good card. It's a good card. There's no doubt about it. It stops rematch. It negates the activation, so if anything crazy happens in the damage step, it can actually activate in damage because it does negate an activation of a card. So know that. It's the only Ghost Gorilla, I believe, that negates an activation here. But I can't think of a specific example for that. Just know that it's pretty darn good. Goki Rematch Spiral, the Spiral Double Helix, I did not think this would be stopping Spiral Double Helix. Like, I'm sure the better Spiral players are laughing at me, but man, it's a crazy card. Nightmare Ibley is falling down fast, though. So if you've been considering it, it is a one of its shorter print, but it was destined to kind of go down as a one of. It's not an extra deck access monster like Borreload, although you are using Mermaid from the extra deck to access it. It's still kind of a brick in your main deck at times, and I think it was bound to go down from the 35 mark. Where it'll fall, maybe it'll rest at 20 eventually, but I don't think it would go much down past 18. It's being a shorter print card, even with special editions, even with more printings. A lot of people are going to want to play Nightmares. And since you do have a card from your extra deck that accesses it, since it does help you lock down your opponent, we'll see it probably stick at least at 18 to 20 at worst. But do know it's falling. Where it lands, nobody knows. And really staying stable are the other Nightmares. I think them being accessed from the extra deck, huge bonus for them. Maybe something else to shop on eBay today. Now, whenever I'm wrong, I gotta, make fun of myself a little. I didn't think about the Red Eyes Darkness zombie structure deck impacting this price because the first one was so bad. But I guess structure decks these days have a lot of potential. But looking at Layer of Darkness, like, that completely flopped. Solitaire was bought out without us even knowing what kind of zombies or what's in it, just because it's one of the best zombie cards. I still think that buyout's a little ridiculous, but at the same time, I get people wanting to have their copies. But we still do see it quickly fall back towards its original price here on TCG Player, and it's quickly falling down from the price that it was holding. So after a buyout, it's still going to sell. It's still speculation on, will there be something that mixes well with Solitaire Unizombie in that deck? Highly likely, because these are some of the best zombies. But will it actually be good? Wait till the cards are announced before you go hype crazy like that. Or you could be sitting on a good card for a while that could just, hey, here's an OTS pack common. Wouldn't that suck? Wouldn't that suck a lot? Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring sitting at 55, chilling back down just a little bit, but not too much. It still hurts. But just to note, the Secret Rare Unlim on eBay, 55, 20% off today. Hey, that's a pretty good deal considering. And look, first edition, 60, 20% off. Ooh, these prices are definitely where you would want to go on Ash Blossoms. Do get the secrets over the Ultra. They will hold value longer. You'll be glad you spent that little bit extra. Or actually saved money today versus the Ultra. So things to hunt down are like hand traps, staples, maybe things you've been holding off on for a while. Battles of Legend is around the corner, though. I'm highly impressed with the first reprint announcement, Cyber Dragon Bottomless Solemn. It's feeling very battle package this time, Konami. Please do not continue that trend. Those are not exciting reprints to announce, to wave the flag that another great reprint set is here. Oh boy, another Cyber Dragon. Oh, Solemn Judgment. We don't have enough of those. Like, please actually put good cards in this set, like, that are needed. I'm never mad at more Solemns, but come on, they're very accessible, very cheap. Very, very cheap. I think somebody actually mentioned to me that the Ghost Rare Solemns were somewhat cheap. Let me just actually look this up. Of course, there's let's see here, an $8 Ghost Rare that's actually playable in the metal. $9, 13 copies, near mint. You know what's another version of Solemn that we already have? We have Secrets and we have Ultras already. What's another version of Solemn gonna do for us? So I'm hoping the Battles of Legend turns out to be a banger of a set, but at the same time, it's starting to look like it's weak flexing besides the Time Lords for me personally. But what do you guys think? Do you think Battles of Legend will be that hype? It will be that good? I've got a dog who wet my feet. And do remember that sale today. That's why I'm putting this up early. It's why I'm doing this with my allergies like this for you guys. It's a huge sale. You guys should get on it, definitely. But you got to spend $50, so sorry to Team Broke. And you do have to, decide, have I been wanting this collector's card for a while? Is it at a good price with the 20% off? Get it. Like, if you've been waiting on Ash Blossoms, you're scared of a reprint, Secret Rare 20% off, I feel like you can't go too wrong. Like, it's probably going to fall towards 30, and you're going to get use out of it now, especially for WCQ. Get it. That's just my opinion, but use your own big brain, use your wallet responsibly, and make your purchases there.